All right, guys, welcome to Indian Creek Bow Hunting Journal. We have a review for you for the Engage Hybrid 3-pin made by CBE Custom Bow Equipment. Here it is right here, $319 retail, but I got this one for $100 off. I said, I got to check this out for $100 off. So anyways, it is a hybrid, so you got 3 pins set at a fixed 20, 30, and 40. And then you use the bottom pin. We'll set the bottom pin and you can adjust it all the way out to about 100 yards, I believe. So we'll see how that works. And I've got my Matthews V3 right here. Gonna set it up on that. I've always used a 7-pin, some versions of a 7-pin sight, just because I film and hunt at the same time. And to add a third component of having to adjust something as well as ranging and shooting, I would prefer just a fixed pin sight to go ahead and hit it. But when you got an animal that's out there further, you usually have a little bit more time to try to make that third component work. So we're going to see how this works. So let's get this rolling.
Nothing new under the sun, one life to live, seeking fun. But shallow is the self-lived life. For me, myself, oh, so much strife. But Jesus is the answer for a life perplexed and wanting more. It's never easy self to deny, but it's the only way to a life on high.
All right, guys, here's what comes in the package. Of course, you have the bow sight itself, along with the anchor for the dovetail going in there, right there. And then you have these plates, which there's numbers on them. I'll figure that out and let you know how that works. These are actually aluminum plates that screw on right here. Rather than having a sight tape, there are aluminum plates that go on there. So you just pick the size you want and don't lose the rest in case you ever change your poundage or something. And then there's these anchor screws for the anchor here. And these are special screws. I mean, the heads are not like flared like they most of the time they are, so don't lose these. And then, of course, the light. And then the instructions. So that's what comes in the box. So let's get to putting this thing on.
I mounted the thing on there, got it put up on properly, but it took me about 3 days to really get this thing dialed in, of 3 days of shooting. And I would encourage you, I have a link below. The manufacturer has a YouTube video, and I've got the link below that shows you exactly how to sight this thing in and do it exactly how he tells you, because I actually sighted it in wrong the first day, and I was having fits on the second day trying to dial in which correct aluminum plate I was to use for the sight tape. And I was every time I get out past 50 yards, it was off quite a bit. So very frustrating. But once I went back and looked over that video again and figured out what my mistake was, it came pretty easy on the third day. And on the third day, I was shooting out to 95 yards in some really strong wind. Guys, we are on our 3-day of getting this thing sighted in. This is 50 yards. That's pretty decent. What I'm finding, it's freezing cold, by the way, today in Fort Worth, Texas. Move that slider just the slightest little bit. It can matter a lot out here at these further ranges. So I'm gonna keep shooting this thing for about a week till I get it dialed in good. That's my 70 yard. I'm shooting out of a garage where it's not windy, because it's really, really windy out here. Wind is kind of blowing crossways like this. 45 yards. That's decent at 45 yards. And then I got 80 yards over here. Still trying to get this thing dialed in good but at 80 yards, that's pretty decent. This is my second round at 82 yards. My other one was about the same. So we're gonna move it out to 90 and 100 and see what happens. Can you believe this? 90 yards from inside the garage. This is my first shot. First shot's at 90 yards. And with the wind howling like this, that is unbelievable. That's gonna work. I think we're dialed in, because you can't get your hand much more still at 90 yards like that. And I don't think I'm gonna make it. I got a mark at 100 yards back here, but I don't think I'm gonna make that, because I don't think the fletching is gonna clear the bottom of the sight housing. I might get 95 yards out of it. All right, guys, we got this thing set at 95. And I think that's about all the clearance I want to try. All right, we're at 95 yards. Look at that, baby. That's my first 3 arrows at 95 yards. This one right here, I felt it go left, and I thought I was going to miss the target with this one, because when I moved when I let go. But man, these two, 95 yards. Man, I'm loving this sight. All right, guys, here's my final evaluation on this Engage sight. It's the 3-pin version. They have a single pin, a 3-pin, and a 5-pin. For me, in a movable sight, 5-pin is kind of redundant or almost worthless for my case, because you'd never move it. Your chances of you killing a deer out past 60 yards is pretty slim. I'd just get a 5-pin sight if I was to do that. But the 3-pin makes it very versatile, because sometimes you are going to shoot at deer out past 40 yards. And so that sliding pin enables you to be able to do that. But this gives a hearty thumbs up for me. The pros are the fact that you got 3 pins. You can set those 20, 30, 40 yards, and you don't have to worry about moving it at all. I film my hunts, so it adds actually a third element for me to try to range a deer, set my camera, and then pull back and shoot the deer. And if I add that third element of having to move the pin, it makes it very difficult. It's not. I don't think it's going to be a problem out past 40 yards, because if you're going to take a shot out past 40 yards, you're going to have that deer nice and calm and relaxed, and so you'll have plenty of time to move that around and get set up for a shot that far a distance. Here's another pro, very interesting pro to this. Sometimes I shoot 3D and 3D tournaments just for fun. I don't do it for competition. But this, I can use this as a single pin sight all the way down to about 18 yards. So I can use my bottom pin that I've sighted in for the moving, and I can put it all the way down to 18 yards and all the way out to 95 yards. That's my max that I can shoot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it.
In fact, I was shooting this better at 95 yards than I was today at 74 yards out my cabin window here. So, I mean, you can use it as a single pin sight. You can use it as a 20, 30, 40 yard fixed pin sight, and then anything out past 40 yards or maybe even in to 30 yards, you can move that pin around and get it precisely on, right on the button. The light is nice. If you hunt at night like I do, because I shoot pigs at night and axis deer at night, this thing does not lighten up that much when you hit this light at nighttime. And so that's a nice feature about it. Now it does get a lot brighter when you turn it on the full intensity, but it's the dial intensity. I put it on the lowest intensity when it's dark and here in the cabin at night if I'm shooting out the cabin window for pigs or whatever, or nighttime. You could also put a piece of black tape on the front of it, and that would even eliminate pretty much all of the light that you could see from the animal's perspective. One other positive that I did forget is this thing is a 3-axis sight, so I don't have the table equipment to be able to get it on the 3-axis perfectly, so I took it back down to the bow shop that I bought it from, and they fixed it up for me on the 3-axis. If you don't know how to do that, you can. There's a link below that shows you to a YouTube video. Another positive on this is this has the capability of putting in a magnifying glass in here that can magnify your sight or your target a little bit. So that's kind of a cool feature on that as well. I don't know that I'll ever use it, but I might. Maybe when I go 3D shooting or whatever. There are some cons with this, in my opinion. Number one, I'm an old guy, and my eyes are getting worn out. And this sight tape right here, this sight tape, these numbers are really, really small. And so right now, I can really, it's hard for my older eyes to see the single yardage lines. You have it sets it up at 40, actually 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 yards. And those individual knocks or ticks in between those major yardages I can't see. The 5 I can see okay because it's out past the single yardage. So I'm pretty much, if I want to dial it in perfectly, I'm guesstimating because of my eyes. Such a small sight tape. Those dials with the bigger knobs I would assume would be a little easier to dial in for my older eyes. Another con, just the second con on this, is this this rolling lever, I guess you'd call it, is a little bit too small. In order to loosen it up and tighten it up, tends to hurt my fingers a little bit because it's so small. So if they made that a little bit longer with a little bit softer end on it somehow, that would have been a better deal on that. Those are the two cons that I see. So very nice sight for the money. It runs $320 retail. Prices are going up fast, so you better go get it in Biden's crazy economy. But I got it for $220. This particular bow place where I bought it was actually getting rid of it, and they were actually not going to sell these anymore. But great sight, love it. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Be sure and give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll get you notification of future videos that come out. Thank you for watching.